If you feel stuck in life, you probably need some new friends. If you're unsatisfied with where you're at so far, a lot of that has to do with who you're surrounding yourself with. So today on Legacy Builders, I want to talk with you about how to know when you need to change the community, the people around you, and what to do about it.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Legacy Builders with Bryan Dulaney. Today we are going to talk about how there are times in our life when we realize that you might need new friends. And there might be some of you that are listening today that you're wondering, why are you stuck? Why aren't you moving forward in life? Why do you feel like you have vision for 10 years down the road, but you feel stuck right where you're at? And there's a decent chance that it might be your community. It might be who you're around. So, Bryan, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this and why we need to surround ourselves with the right people. And that might mean getting rid of some of the wrong people in order to reach our legacy.
Yeah, 100%. So going back in time, I'm going to talk about two main points here today. And, back when I was in college, which was quite a long ways ago, 2002 is when I started. And I was at Slippery Rock University. And the moment I realized that I needed to start hanging out with different people was the moment when I died and came back to life. And so a lot of you know that story. I tell it. If you haven't listened to the beginning of this podcast, I recommend go back, binge watch, because the first several episodes are all about that journey for me. But I realized real quickly that I probably wasn't hanging around the right people that had the same value system I have, or that want to really make something of their life going forward. And so I died, came back to life, and realized real quickly that the people that I was hanging around were they were just partying. They were just living large. They really weren't focused on the future at all. They're focused now and in the moment, which is great. There's a time for that, but they weren't positive influences in my life. They weren't supporting me. They weren't trying to propel my growth, right? Like it's a completely different situation if you're present in the moment and experiencing all that life has to offer while being supported by a community that also wants to see you thrive. That wasn't the situation that I was in. And so I transferred from there to Clearwater Christian College. And then eventually I landed at Liberty University, where I ended up getting my degree from in marketing, my undergraduate degree, and then eventually went on to my master's degree, and then stopped my master's degree because my business took off like a rocket. But I was then finally surrounded by people that shared my Christian values. Okay. And then the second part of it, I would say, is the fastest path to surrounding yourself with a new community, right? There's that concept of the crab in the bucket, right? Like if you're feeling like you're constantly being pulled down or pulled back or held back, you probably have people around you that aren't encouraging your vision, or aren't supporting the desires that you have for life or business. And a lot of people can get stuck in that rut, if you will, or in that bucket, if you will. Family is usually the first to be the ones to say, "Oh, don't go." They're ones to pull you back in because it makes them uncomfortable. You becoming larger than your current reality makes them uncomfortable, because that means they have to get uncomfortable and they have to become larger themselves, right? So I think the fastest path really to surrounding yourself with a community of other people that are going to support you. I mean, it's one thing to be surrounded by people that love you, that care about you. It's a whole nother thing to be surrounded by a community of people that want to see you be successful, that cheer on your success, that support you and your success and your journey. And so I would say that's where masterminds come in. And I was a part of Russell's mastermind, his highest level mastermind, for 5 years, a part of masterminds with, at the highest levels with Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi, where you couldn't even pay to be in the room. You had to earn your way into the room by being their top affiliate and spending a week in Fiji and a week in Tony's backyard, right? And I talk about that in early episodes. I would encourage you to find yourself a way to put yourself in those rooms. But here's a mistake that a lot of people make, and I made it as well. And that's joining masterminds too early. I launched a mastermind with a guy a couple years ago. And here's what I realized 2 years after launching it. I realized that most of those people shouldn't have been in a mastermind. They should have hired an agency or hired people to help them produce results in the 6, 7, and 8-figure level, and then join a mastermind. Because what I found, and that's why I don't have this belief anymore that everyone on the planet should join a mastermind. I think as you're starting on this journey of being an expert that serves others, right? That's probably why you're listening to this, is that the first thing that you should do is become obsessed about producing results for others and getting very intimate with how you help other people produce results. And once you build up a mountain of evidence that what you do works, and it works for a variety of other people, then you can be in a position to join a mastermind, right?
Right.
Then you can be in a position to cut a check for 25, 50, or 100 grand to be a part of a community and a group that's going to support you. A mistake that a lot of people make is they think that joining the mastermind is going to be the thing that unlocks success and abundance for them. And then all of a sudden they're going to have $1 million a year business or more because now they're in this group.
Right.
I don't have that belief anymore. There was a point in time when I had a belief that everybody should be in a mastermind. But after experiencing people in a mastermind who didn't have 6, 7, or 8-figure results, I realized really quickly that they should hire a team or hire people to help them get past that 6-figure barrier. And then once they're producing results, then they have contribution to a mastermind. I think there's a few things about a mastermind that make them magical. And that would be, bringing results to the table, that things that are working for you. And then on the flip side of that is there's people in the room that have things that are working for them, and you can collaborate with them to take your business to the next level. And so I think it's really important to surround yourself with a group of like-minded people that are doing better than you, in fact, right? I mean, if you want to grow to 8 figures and you're doing 7, the fastest path is to get around people that have already done 8 or are already doing 8, who can say, look, here's the path I took. Here's the things that I would avoid. Here's the things that I would do differently. Try them for yourself. And then you can go and take action and get the feedback loop that you need to make the adjustments that you need to make to go to the next level. It's really as simple as that. But I see the market, kind of pitching this idea global, like kind of to the whole ecosystem, which is, you should be a part of a mastermind. And yes, it's true. I just think that now experiencing it, you need to join a mastermind when you have something of some type of contribution value, right? Even in Russell's mastermind, in the very beginning, there were people in the group who hadn't even built a funnel. And so they had no contribution value to the collective group, right? So they were just taking from the group.
Yeah, you can pay for it. You can, pay, but you don't have the experience to where when you're hearing from other people where it's actually going to you're going to be able to apply it to what you're doing.
100%. So what happened is those people weeded themselves out. They fell off. And then Russell eventually said, in order for you to be in the mastermind, you need to at least have a 7-figure funnel, right? So he put a barrier of entry in place. And I think that's great because then you're not missing that contribution value, right? Like you don't want people in the room who just have paid to get in. Right? This isn't like an event, right? Where you're just like, I've got the cash. Let me just pay to be a fly in the wall. That doesn't serve the rest of the members. And so my wife and I were launching a new mastermind called Legacy Builders, where we have that component in place, right? Where you have to be doing $1 million a year or more with bank statements to back it up, not just, on your word. And then 2, not be able to flinch, like you're not flinching at cutting a check for 50 grand to be a part of a community of other people who are going to, where you're going to meet up in epic destinations twice a year. And you're going to be sitting around the table with people that are doing multiple 7, 8 figures, multiple 8 figures, in some cases 9 figures in revenue annually. That type of environment, there's not a lot of rooms where that environment exists, right? I can probably name less than a handful of organized, coordinated groups of people meet like that. And we talk about it all the time. Some of my friends at the high level that have either, done 7 or 8 figures or have sold companies for 7 or 8 figures. We talk about this, right? Like having this group of people that we can talk with who money is no longer an obstacle on the journey, right? Like we've figured that problem out, right? By service, by value, by contribution, by contributing to, other people's lives, right? Money solved, if you're still in that conversation of scarcity and lack of, you haven't figured that part out. And that's what other episodes of the show are for, right? Other episodes of the podcast are to help you solve those problems so you can get beyond the money game and you can get into a place of real contribution and impact, which is a much better place to be, quite frankly, or quite honestly. And our journey's different, right? I mean, everybody has a different journey. In the beginning, I was obsessed about making a certain amount of money. And that's the only lens I saw through because I had a lack of it, right? When you reach a place of having an abundance of it, money being the case, you're not creating from a place of lack. You're creating from a place of abundance. And it's a far greater place to create from. So really, I mean, to summarize it, I think you need to take inventory of who's in your life now, right? Like who are the 5 people that are in your life that are influencing you on a day-to-day basis? Your husband, your wife, that's one. They're influencing you more than you know. And then who are your friends? Who are your family? Who are the people you're hanging with? What level are they at? And I'm not saying cut out family. You would never do that. But you'd want to spend significantly more time with people that are producing, people that are contributing to society in a way that's making the world a better place, because a rising tide raises all ships, right? So I really encourage you to find yourself a group, right? Whether it's a mastermind or whether that's just a group that you coordinate on your own of people that are like-minded, share similar values, have a vision for the future, and are committed to all of you going to the next level. If you don't have something like that, even if it's 5 people, I would say anyone in the world can assemble that group, right? But it's going to take some work. It's going to take some getting uncomfortable, right? Because you have to grow in order to be a contribution to that group as well, right? You're not going to find many, broke people hanging out with billionaires. It's just not common, right? You're going to find billionaires hanging out with billionaires. You're going to find millionaires hanging out with millionaires, right? Like attracts like. So the fastest path to get to that place where you have contribution value to the group is to perform and produce for yourself, make your own impact. And then it's much easier to get a seat at the table. So my advice there is go find people that can help you get there. Shortcut your learning curve, accelerate your path of success by finding people that have already done what it is that you want to accomplish. If you want to build a 7 or 8 figure business around your specific unique expertise, find someone who's already done it, or find a number of people that have already done it and hire them. Get coaching, get consulting, hire them to do it for you, right? There's so many options, but it first comes by, figuring out who are the people that have done something similar to what it is that you want to create. And then you can model it, you can reproduce it, but you can put your own spin on it and have it be unique to you. And I think that's really important as well. Creating and producing things that are unique to you, has your signature on it. That's the only way that you'll sustain being in the market for a long period of time, like I have for over 16 years. You got to constantly be innovating and creating new, fresh ideas. Otherwise, they become stale and outdated and old. And then someone else is going to come in and be more creative and be more unique. So find what it is that makes you unique, different, and better than anyone in your marketplace, and ride that till the sun comes home.
Yeah. A few things I love that you mentioned is that one piece of like that $100,000 mark, that 6-figure mark of like, maybe a mastermind isn't right for you right now. because there's got to be some kind of proof of concept. But the second thing that you mentioned is huge, which is if you're not in a place where you can join a formal mastermind, that doesn't mean that you can't get people around you. And maybe you're going to a coffee shop or out for lunch with people that are also in your similar sphere and learning from each other. And I just had a conversation with one of my friends the other day, and every time I see this friend, they're always talking about what they want to accomplish. They're talking about what they could be doing. And they're also frustrated. And they're also like just negative. They're always negative about like, if I had more time, if I had more this, they're always talking about their aspirations, but they're never acting on it. And I left that conversation and I told my wife, I was just like, I'm done talking about business with this person. Like they're a good friend, but like, I can't, like, you just got to realize like, this is not a person that's going to be filling me up in that way. And we just have to realize that with people around us, and it can be hard.
Yeah. Especially family and close friends, right? You have to know where to draw the line. And, you begin to start to see patterns, right? Negative stinking thinking, or what I, wished I would have done or could have done or should have done, right? And they never do it. And so you have to eventually realize, like you had the other day, that I'm going to stop talking business with this person because they never take action on anything that they wish they would do. And so it's really a draining conversation for you, but it's also probably a draining conversation for them. So, so it's not serving anyone.
Right.
Really,
yeah, exactly.
At the end of the day. Whereas you could have an amazing conversation about something that they're passionate about and curious about and interested in, and you'd both be blessed in the process.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this topic is so huge. And so I encourage this to be an episode that you listen to every now and then on repeat, because we always have to be reminded, like, who are we surrounding ourselves with? This is so critical to success and critical to legacy too. It's not just about making 7 or 8 figures. It's about, are the people around us, are they aligned with how you see the world? So Bryan, this has been really good. Some great points to be chewing on, and this will be a topic that we revisit here on Legacy Builders. But thank you for sharing your 2 cents on the community around us.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining me on Legacy Builders, and I would encourage you to come back to the next episode next week to get more clarity on your journey to launch your expertise online, scale your impact, and build your legacy. If you're ready to get the process started of launching your expertise online the right way, then I recommend go to launchexpertise.com, or maybe you're at a place where you're ready to really scale your expertise and your impact. Go to launchexpertise.com. There you'll have several options. Number 1, you can get a free copy of my brand new book, The Entrepreneur Evangelist, which I share the secrets that have unlocked more than $300 million of results for my clients and partners in our own campaigns. You could also join a 33 days of coaching with me that's free, where I give you insights and wisdom on your journey to launching your expertise and scaling your impact over the course of 33 days. And that's worth at least $5,000, but for right now, you can get it for free. And lastly, if you're someone who wants to take the absolute faster, smarter path when it comes to launching your expertise online and scaling your impact, I'd recommend scheduling a call with my team where we can see how we can support you to crush goals and generate 7 or 8 figures yourself in a short period of time. We have more awards than nearly anyone in the entire community, and for good reason. And we would love to help you just like we've helped them. I look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Legacy Builders.